That is not how you run a business. You will become the bottleneck really soon. Every decision starts and stops with you, and you're going to live a stressful life. You're going to be on defense all the freaking time. You're not going to be able to think about growth. You're not going to be able to think about the future, and you're not going to be able to make decisions to properly guide and move your business forward. These monkeys must leave the room with that employee who brings them to you. I want to talk about delegation. Delegation is not only important for real estate, but it is so incredibly important for small business and operations, whether you're running your properties, whatever it might be. And I've come to the conclusion that there are two levels of delegation. The first one is delegating tasks. Now, delegating a task, and the second level is delegating a decision. I'm going to talk about the separation between the two, and I'm going to give you examples of both because I think that this is so important. First of all, this stuff is really, really scary. The only way to get better at delegating is to do it. But I've done a lot of it, been at it for 10 years, and I figured out some ways to think about it. Now, you have to start with delegating a task. Delegating a task is simply, okay, I can do this, or I can pay somebody else to do this. An example is a lawn care company with a person running a lawn care business owner with a person running a trimmer. They are delegating the task of running the trimmer, and they're going to pay that person for 1 hour, and it'll probably save them about 45 minutes because they're better, they're faster. The owners are always the best, right? And that's why this is uncomfortable, because you as the owner, your urge is going to be to say, get out of the way. I can do this. I can do it the best. Why would I risk any mistakes? I'm going to do this myself. But what you learn is really quickly that you're the bottleneck in everything, and you can only do so much, and you get paid for your time. When you stop working, you stop getting paid. And that sucks as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. So what you have to do is delegate some tasks. You start with hiring the person to run the trimmer. You start with hiring a VA online to insert the unit mixes into your spreadsheet so that you don't have to do that. You start with hiring somebody to answer customer service calls. You start with hiring somebody to edit your podcast and post it. Any business you are, you can delegate those tasks. Now, when you do this, your life starts to open up. You start to leverage your time, and 1 hour of your time is saved, and it costs an hour and a half or $25, $30, $40, or if you're hiring somebody in the Philippines, $5 to get that done. And then you can scale, and you can grow a really, really good business by delegating only tasks. But let me tell you something else. The second level of business is delegating decisions. And this is what so many business owners are not good at. Delegating the decision-making process. The owners who don't do this, all decisions come to them. They decide who to hire, how much to pay somebody, what they're going to offer on something, how to solve a problem. Anything that comes to them inside their company, they are going to be the ones that are the bottleneck. It all comes to them. Every problem, every decision comes to them. You get decision fatigue as an owner. It's no way to live, and it's a real way to run around playing defense all the time and being completely controlled by your customers and your employees. Delegating decisions is the key to truly running a successful company that can grow beyond you. And at this level, you give your employees decision-making power. Sounds simple, right? It's not. You have to teach your employees how to quote the job so that you don't need to travel to the location to give a price. You teach your employees to sign a vendor. Select, they're going to go out for bids, they're going to get all these vendor prices, and they're going to pick one, and they're going to sign it, and they're going to pay that vendor without you having anything to do with it. They can interview, they can hire employees, they can make compensation and decision bonuses, they can decide what you're going to offer on a piece of property. Okay, they're going to work with a banker to try to secure financing. They're going to pick a banker, they're going to sign the term sheet. Stuff is complicated, right? The first major breakthrough for me was in 2012. It was the second year we were in business, and we were sitting around having dinner with a couple of our managers, our student managers, and it was a Friday night, and this kid told me a story. He said, Nick, you wouldn't believe this, but yesterday, an employee on truck 2 on campus, he quit in the middle of his shift, and he left the truck. He just abandoned the truck on the spot. And I was like, whoa, what happened? And he goes, well, I pulled up the spreadsheet. I looked at all of our customer lists, and I sent a text to our employee list. I saw our database of employees, and I sent a text to an employee who I knew lived right nearby where that truck was abandoned. And I said, call me when you get a chance. He called me, and I said, hey, something crazy just happened at work. We really need you to take this shift. And he said, I'm busy. I got a date tonight. I can't do this. And he said, this is when the kid made another decision. He said, I'll give you a $50 bonus if you show up at this truck and run the next 3 hours of this shift. And the kid did it. The kid went to his truck and did it. He didn't have a t-shirt to work in. He didn't have a charged tablet. He didn't have a dolly. So those things had to be sent in, and the kid arranged another truck that was in the area to send him the truck, to send him the equipment, and get him the things he needed to do his job. I was sitting back there saying, oh my God, 9 times out of 10, actually every time this has ever happened, I've gotten a call. Hey, Nick, what do I do? And I've told them exactly what to do, or better yet, I've told them to get out of my way. I'll do it. I'll solve this problem. This kid took it upon himself to make this decision, solve the problem. And at first, I was a little bit uncomfortable. I was angry almost. But that was my immaturity. Me now, I love it when that happens. But, at the time, I was uncomfortable. But then it was a breakthrough for me. It was a transformation in the way that I thought about business. Hey, what if I can get all of my managers to think like this? Okay, there'll be some mistakes. Okay, there's going to be a lot of training involved. Okay, it's going to take me working with them, and I'm going to talk to you about how to do that in a second, but I want to tell you another story. The second major breakthrough on a whole nother level came in early 2021, so a year and a half ago. Bolt Storage, my real estate investment company, we closed on our first self-storage facility. It was actually 3 properties, all in one. Sorry, this was in 2022, not 2021. We closed on a $9 million deal in Virginia that me, the owner, Nick Huber, had nothing to do with. I didn't find the deal. I didn't negotiate the deal. I didn't go under contract with the deal. I didn't secure bank financing for the deal. I didn't write the investment memo. I didn't send it out to investors. I didn't raise the money. And I didn't push through due diligence and towards closing on the deal. The only thing that I did do was get an email with the underwriting done saying, hey, Nick, this is the offer price that I want to start at, and this is where I think we can go to. What do you think about this deal? Do you approve of this? I think it's a good one. I responded and said, yes, that's a good deal. I approve. This sounds like a great plan. Keep me posted. That is one thing that I did. And the other thing is I signed closing documents, drove over to FedEx, which is about 1.5 miles from my house, and I dropped them in the mail for closing the next day. And now, if you've never closed a real estate deal, you have no idea just how much goes into it. Negotiating the contract, working through due diligence, shopping a deal to bankers, writing and proofreading a 12-page investment memorandum that we send to all of our investors when we raise money. My team did all of it. And that was an insane breakthrough for me, and something that I don't think very many real estate investors can do, frankly. And it's one of the reasons why I can focus on growing the company. I'm not stuck in the weeds. Now, how do we do this? How do I do this? I was reading a book. It's Entre Leadership by Dave Ramsey, and he talks about this monkey on the back conundrum. He says, when an employee, and I'm going to give you an overview of this because it's so helpful. He says, when an employee comes into your office with a problem or a question, imagine them walking into your office with a giant monkey on their back. They walk in with a monkey on their back. When they tell you the problem or ask you what you would do to solve a problem, that monkey jumps off their back and jumps onto your desk. And now it's your problem as a boss. It's your problem. And most bosses, most owners, they send the employee on their way. They say, okay, I'll solve it. Get out of the way. I'll solve it. And so their office in their building becomes the place where problems congregate. Imagine their office has a monkey on the desk, a monkey in the chair, a monkey waiting outside the chair, a monkey right outside the door, and all down the hallway there's monkey, 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 because they are the bottleneck in their business, and all the monkeys go to their desk. That is not how you run a business. You will become the bottleneck really soon. Every decision starts and stops with you, and you're going to live a stressful life. You're going to be on defense all the freaking time. You're not going to be able to think about growth. You're not going to be able to think about the future, and you're not going to be able to make decisions to properly guide and move your business forward. These monkeys must leave the room with that employee who brings them to you. So the phone rings. Nick, hey, we got a problem. It's raining really hard and it flooded 3 or 4 units at our Pittsburgh property, for example. What do I do? I'm never going to answer that question ever. I'm going to ask them another question. What do you think we should do? I think that we should probably notify the 4 customers that had the problem, and I think next week we should probably get a company out to look at the drainage. Approved. Click. Okay, I'm never going to answer the question. I'm going to simply ask more probing questions. Sometimes it takes more than that. I don't know what to do. Their stuff's all wet. What do you think about it? Well, let's just compartmentalize this down to problems. What do you think the next step is to take care of this right now? Well, their stuff might get moldy. Okay, well, if their stuff might get moldy, we should probably notify them. Yes, you're right, Nick. Good idea. Let's notify them. What should we do from there? Well, do we need a discount? Do we need to offer them anything? Well, let's see. Let's reach out, tell them to check their stuff. And if there's damage, then we'll make it right with the customers, right? Yeah, Nick, that's probably right. And then I'll just keep asking leading questions and, putting it back on them. And the next time I say, at the end of the conversation, I say, hey, look, next time you call me with a problem, next time you call me with a question, bring an answer. You have to bring an answer. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be good, but do your best to think of how you're going to attack a solution and call me up with the problem and your potential solution. And then I'm going to either say yes or no. And I want you to do that. I don't want you to not call. Keep calling me, but go back out, take care of your monkey, put it back in its cage. Over time, your employees get better at this. The next time they'll call me up and say, hey, Nick, there was a break-in over at our Mississippi property. They broke into 4 or 5 units. We called the police. We created a police report. We notified the customers. We are going to reach out to some security cameras some security camera vendors to get the property surveillance. We need it everywhere anyway. And we have a contractor coming out next week to fix the doors on those units. I'll say approved. Click. Now, that happens over and over and over and over again throughout the day for me. But I'm making one decision by taking the time to teach that employee. I'm making that one decision that saves me 100 future decisions. And that allows me to focus on growing the company, and it empowers my employees to do well. Now, an amazing thing happens when you take this approach. You start to see which employees have what it takes and which employees don't. You start to see which employees are good at making decisions and which employees are not good at making decisions. And you very quickly find out who's competent in what role, who can be promoted, and who needs to have no decisions put on their plate. You would be very, very surprised at how many people, how many human beings are not good at making decisions. Terrible at it, as a matter of fact. And it turns out the decision-making is a muscle, especially business problems that are stressful and there's no guidebook. People think that a problem in business has, it's just like school where you turn a page back and you look at the answers. It's right there in a school book. It's all structured. No, a business problem has 100 inputs, 100 outputs, and 10 different decisions that you could potentially make for any one thing. And the ramifications are big. It's different. It's stressful. You have to get good at it. You have to practice it. So some business owners are even bad at this. The first step before you do any of this stuff is to get good at making these decisions yourself. Get uncomfortable, put yourself in these uncomfortable situations, deal with the stress, and stress is relative. If you're used to bad things happening, if you've dealt with them, if you've solved them, if you realize that the world is not going to end, then you can handle these problems much better and much more efficiently. So what you see is which one of your employees are good? How do they think? How good are they? Who would become a good leader? And then you can start hiring and promoting from within your company and growing your company that way instead of trying to hire management decision makers off the street, which I've never really done. So hope you liked that episode. Big news, guys. I created a free PDF that details my method on how I analyze a self-storage facility and figure out what it's worth. Give me a pen, the back of a napkin, and a couple metrics, and I can figure out about what the property is going to be worth to me. If you want to download this PDF, click in the show notes, the first link, and you can give me your email address, and you get a email right away with 4-page PDF that outlines exactly how I think about underwriting or giving my initial analysis on a self-storage facility. Again, click the link in the show notes, and you're going to get that document for free. This episode of The Nick Huber Show is brought to you by RE Cost Seg. If you want to maximize your bonus depreciation and minimize your tax liability, make sure to do a cost segregation study on real estate you've recently acquired. RE Cost Seg offers the lowest priced, fully engineered studies in the business, and you get a virtual site visit with a quick turnaround. They did 30 plus cost seg studies for me over the past year, including a short-term rental, along with my self-storage facilities. And I'm also an investor in the business, along with my good friend and CPA, Mitchell Baldridge, who you all know. To learn more about how bonus depreciation works, listen to episode 75 of The Nick Huber Show, or visit recostseg.com to go ahead and get a free proposal that outlines the cost of the study and your potential savings. Thanks again, recostseg.com.